On Wednesday, we had our first guest on the Shifts and Pucks podcast. Peter Loubardias joined us for some Flames talk. Here's a portion of that conversation.
The Vancouver Canucks as of right now, because there's all those Miller trade rumors as well. And I feel like he's cut of the same ilk, essentially, because he is one of those guys that will go to bat, go to war, do everything he can to make sure he's successful. And I think that they're very similar players.
Yeah, I see some similarities for sure. I think the makeup of who they are as people, I don't think JT suffers from opinion or being somewhat controversial, or, you know, he might lean a little farther right than some others, but that's fine. But he's a gamer. He's always been a good player, and he's having a heck of a year again. I mean, you know, people questioned it when they got him a couple of years ago. Well, I thought he was their best guy in the year that they made the run, period. Best guy, period. You know, outside of maybe Markstrom would have been right there, very, very close. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, where he goes and where he ends up. I'm going to guess he probably wants to go back to the United States, just a guess.
If he has a choice, for sure.
If he has a choice.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's coming to Calgary.
Yeah, we've discussed it. We don't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
What okay, so hypothetically, if you had a package from Calgary to Vancouver, what would it be?
For JT Miller?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a great question. If I'm Vancouver, I want your first. Starts there. And I probably want Juuso Valimaki.
And you think those two would get it done?
Not sure.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, hypothetically, I guess.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right?
What do you guys want? What do you guys want back in return for JT Miller?
The first, it needs to be there. I think Valimaki would be a good, sort of third piece. I know you're quite high on him, but he's dangerously close to being another sort of
that's fair, to another Oli Ulevi, for example.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. So I'd be if I was Alvin or Rutherford, I'd be asking for one of the top three prospects, Pelche, Zary, or Coronado.
Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing what you can get there.
Yeah, and I'd be telling you that I'm going to hang up the phone.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Oh, the cell phone disconnect. I don't know what happened.
Going through a tunnel.
Yeah, and that's exactly where we got to as well. It's just it doesn't make sense. But I want to get back to let's go to Valimaki here.
Mm-hmm.
What is holding him back from being a full-time NHLer at this point?
He hasn't played enough.
Yeah.
He hasn't played enough. And, you know, when Darryl came on board, if you're going to play for Darryl, you're going to have to do it his way. And the one thing about Darryl's philosophy, and he can be pretty hard on young guys, because Darryl believes that the NHL is not where you're supposed to learn. You know, you get better at the NHL level, but you learn somewhere else. But in the case of Juuso, I mean, you know, and I don't feel responsible, but, you know, I've always liked the kid. If you know him as a human, there's nothing not to like. He's respectful. He's passionate. I think he has leadership qualities. But I also think he's his hardest marker, and he's a pretty sensitive, emotional guy. And not that I know anything about sensitive or emotional, but for those types of people, and I just might be one of them, a lot of times the highs are really, really high and the lows are really low. And as a young player with high expectations, he didn't meet them under Darryl. And, we're kind of seeing that with Dylan Dubé, who I thought this year, again, might have a chance to have a breakout year. But under Darryl, you need to do it the right way. And you need to check and you need to show that you can check elite level people before he's as concerned about what you can do with the other. But he has missed so much time. In his last year in Tri-City, he only played 43 games. He virtually missed 2 complete seasons after, being inserted into that 2018-2019 playoff series against Colorado, which is when I got really excited about him, because he came in midway through the series and he didn't skip a beat. And there were a lot of other defensemen in the group that had a miserable time. And he was playing 18 minutes those last 3 games. But those things happen. Sometimes in sports and in life, if success comes a little earlier than you're really ready for it, when it goes in the other direction, for these young guys, it's hard. It's really hard. But I still think if he can get healthy and get his confidence back, and it may not happen in Calgary. Because guess what? I don't care what business you're in. You have to have the backing of the most important people. But even in Calgary, I could still see it working, because we're always in this day and age in such a rush with first-round guys that it has to happen today. It doesn't have to happen today. In fact, more guys get messed up. Like, think about Olli Juolevi. How might have that situation been, gents, if he spent another year or 2 at home?
Yeah, for sure. I think
now he was already over in North America, but he was better at 17 than he was at 18 or 19. So confidence is something, at least on our shows, I talk about every day. Because when you lose it, and remember, young elite people, most of the time, they haven't heard the word no, or you're not good enough. So when a situation comes along where, hey, everything's rolling along and he's got 9 points as a 17-year-old, wins a gold medal, wins a Memorial Cup, and I love the kid. I got to tell you, I was dead wrong. Not that I'm dead wrong, but it certainly didn't happen the way I thought it might. But I think the marketplace, I think the timing, I think when young people aren't ready, look at Puljujärvi. Did he benefit from going home? Yeah, I interviewed him in Buffalo at the draft. He couldn't. He could barely say hi and hello. He's not ready. And it's more, guys, than just. It's not just about being ready as a hockey player. It's about learning how to be a pro and learning, in those cases, the language and being a long way away from family and friends. And when it goes south, it's hard for those young guys. They're not used to it. And I don't want to be the old guy, but I'm the old guy. The young people of today aren't exactly built for adversity sometimes, because we don't want them to have any. And that's like guys like my fault in my generation.
Yeah.
Devin, tell me you don't see that at the gym all the time.
Yep.
Tell me that.
Definitely see it. For sure.
Yeah. And it's not anybody's fault. It's not a hockey thing. It's a society thing.
Yep.
There's value in hard. And if it starts hard, you appreciate it more. And in a lot of cases, those kids get to a better place.
We Talk Flames on Wednesdays. You can join us live on 1:30 Pacific, 2:30 Mountain, Facebook.com/Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com/Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com/Shifts and Pucks, or subscribe to wherever you get your audio.